plates.
Today, in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Organ Donation India Foundation, Gyan, and Indo-Gulf Management Association. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today our topic is quite interesting topic and very relevant topic. That is what makes customer happy. But before I will go on the topic, I would like to inform you that today world is observing International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. The International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking is a United Nations International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illegal Drug Trade. It is observed annually on 26th June since 1989. The date June 26th is to commemorate Lin Jeshu's dismantling of the opium trade in Human Guangdong, ending on June 25th, 1839, just before the first opium war in China. The World Drug Day is dedicated to share research findings, data, and facts that can save lives of people addicted to drugs. On International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, activists, therapists, organizations helping people to give up drugs, and governments show solidarity in helping victims of drug abuse. By working together, we can tackle the world drug problem, said the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. Campaigns, rallies, posters, designs, and many other programs are conducted. People of different countries celebrate the day together. As drug use increases, the day become more important. Media conference with Lal Goel hopes that by observing this day, we will be creating more awareness of drug abuse so that many lives can be saved. Now coming to the main topic, what makes customer happy? Customer service should not just be a department, it should be the entire company. There is only one boss, the customer, and he can fire everybody in the company from the chairman on down simply by spending his money somewhere else. We see our customers as invited guests to a party and we are the hosts. It is our job every day to make every important aspect of the customer experience a little bit better, said Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon. In sales, commerce, and economics, a customer, sometimes known as a client, buyer, or purchaser, is the recipient of a good, service, product, or an idea obtained from a seller, vendor, or supplier via a financial transaction or exchange for money or some other valuable consideration. Customers are important because they drive revenues. Without them, businesses cannot continue to exist. All businesses compete with other companies to attract customers either by aggressively advertising their products, by lowering prices to expand their customer base, or developing unique products and experiences that customers love. Customer happiness or satisfaction is a term frequently used in marketing. It is a measure of how product and services supplied by a company meet or surpass customer expectation. Customer satisfaction is defined as the number of customers or percentage of total customers whose reported experience with a firm, its product, or its services exceeds specified satisfaction goals. Customers play an important role and are essential in keeping a product or service relevant. It is therefore in the best interest of the business to ensure customer satisfaction and build customer loyalty. The Marketing Accountability Standards Board, MASB, endorses the definitions, purposes, and measures that appears in marketing metrics as part of its ongoing common language in marketing project. In a survey of nearly 200 senior marketing managers, 71% responded that they found a customer satisfaction metric very useful in managing and monitoring their businesses. Customer satisfaction is viewed as a key performance indicator within business and is often part of a balanced scorecard. In a competitive marketplace where businesses compete for customers, customer satisfaction is seen as a major differentiator and increasingly has become an important element of business strategy. In general, a customer is happy when he is completely satisfied with the product and has absolutely no issues associated with it. Top players know how to keep their customers satisfied all the time. They lend utmost importance to customer satisfaction and maintain optimum satisfaction levels all the time for safeguarding the reputation of the brand. Here, the customer happiness feedback comes in handy and allows businesses gather core customer insights. It is not an exaggeration to say that customer happiness forms the backbone of a successful business. Apart, customer satisfaction helps retain loyal customers and increase customer engagement. It is quite expensive to acquire new customers than to retain old customers. Always pay attention to what your customers say. Your customers are always looking for the assistance of some sort relevant to the product or service. However, it does not mean embracing the customers by constantly following them and intruding their personal space. Give the opportunity to listen to your customer grievances and do something positive about it. This, in a way, helps build a positive rapport and build relationships. Consider yourself as an expert and educate and empower the customers to understand your business in a new way. A personalized touch matters a lot. Ensure to keep the customer engagement a notch higher with a little personal touch. It leads to the strengthening of the bond and forms a relationship between you and your customer. After the purchase of the product or service, you can call them, initially inquire about their well-being, and then you can inquire about the product or service. You need to check if they are satisfied with the product. It offers dual benefits. You can capture customer feedback and simultaneously you can also make them feel valued. Customers' gratitude goes a long way. Customers are the most valuable resource for businesses for generating decent profits. Regularly capture feedback and implement necessary action to resolve the pain points and keep them satisfied all the times. Make sure to thank them. Indulge in creative ways to express gratitude. It would involve making a call on special occasions or offering a discount coupon. The ultimate motive is to delight customers. Happy customers are more likely to share the feedback via word of mouth and also share the feedback across various social media channels. Always stand on your promises. Never make or commit false promises with the customers. You can sell your product once with your false promises, but that leads to customer churn and you are most likely to lose the customer forever. The customer feels irritated and cheated and never wants to return to the business. Besides, the customer is more likely to leave a negative review online or on various social media channels, damaging the brand reputation. Reward your loyal customers. Gaining loyal customers is one thing and retaining them for long periods is another challenge. Make sure to offer special privileges to loyal customers like special offers, exclusive discounts, shopping vouchers, and redeemable loyalty points. Just make sure to keep the thing entertaining, tasteful, and fun. Keep a close watch on social media. In this modern era, people spend most of their time on smartphones and in particular the social media. The customers The customers use social media to vent their feelings, be it positive or negative. By carefully monitoring the feedback posted by customers on social media channels, businesses can know the shortcomings and take necessary steps in this direction for better customer service. Respond to customer grievances instantly and build a positive relationship. Personalize your communications. Personalizing customer communication is a great way to connect with your customers and make them happy. Think creatively and include personalized messages in marketing campaigns. You can include first name, last name, office details, and so on. You can also add personalized questions to the surveys, sending out different surveys to every customers. And to discuss this very, very important aspect of marketing, that what makes customer happy. And this is a $1 billion questions. So much money is spent by the companies for this purpose only. And to discuss this very, very important topic, we have a very early experienced authority on this subject. Panelists are with us, and I would like to invite my first panelist. He is Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal is the former Professor of Marketing Innovation and Management, IIM Lucknow, XLRI Jamshedpur, and California State University, USA. He is President of Indo-Gulf Management Association. He is US Fulbright Fellow Boston, EFMD Fellow Paris, and British Council Fellow London. In 2019, he was ranked among the 251 most fabulous global education leaders. Welcome, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal on our show. Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, you are I will say, guru of marketing. And you know, the marketing means how to satisfy the customer so he will be happy. That is the main mantra of the marketing. Now, when you are involved in this from the very beginning, we would like to know your views on what makes customer happy. Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, please.
First of all, good morning to you, sir, Goel Sahab, and also my esteemed colleagues here, Dr. Tomar, Mr. Peter Haridia, because both of them are coming with a very, very fresh thoughts and very, very fresh field of thinking in marketing because of their very unique experience. And I'm sure that our viewers will also see the same when they begin to speak. At this moment, I want to thank you, Mr. Goel, for setting such a rich state for us to comment, to offer our own 2 cents here or there as to what makes customer happy. Let me begin with one set of stats which we were all told when we were students, which also continue with some updation here or there. And now the same thing has also transformed into the social media sector. We were told that a dissatisfied customer tells 11 to 12 people about the bad experience, while the satisfied customer tells only to 3 or 4 or 5 people only if the person is satisfied, which means that the power of dissatisfaction is greater than the power of positive experience, because people don't speak about it generally for whatever reason. We can take about that later, that why people don't share their positive experience also, and why people are instantly ready to share their negative experiences with anything, especially with the marketer. The same data of 1/4 positive, 3/4 negative has been updated now in the social media, where it has become 1:10. In other words, that the 90% people are quick to react when they are unhappy on social media, then the one first who says positive things. And many times the number of that one itself is also derided in the suspicion that that positive remark is motivated, paid for, or something else happened, and that is why that person is writing a positive word of mouth. But fact of the matter here is that it is a very, very expensive exercise for any company to dissatisfy a customer. And the fact of the matter also is that it is a most efficient, effective marketing exercise if it is based on customer satisfaction. Because in our marketing, we have been told that there are three routes to grow, and each and every route can be used by a company, and each and every route is expensive or inexpensive the way you execute it. The first strategy that we call it is find more customers. Find more customers are oil salesmen, snake oil salesmen, or those people who are always looking for new customers because the previous customers have left them, as you very correctly mentioned. So they're always finding more. And when they are finding more, the cost of promotion, the cost of business development, the cost of market development, the cost of product development, you can name continuously such kind of exercises. They cost a lot because the central goal of that is to find more or new customers. The second one is a little bit competitive, and that particular thing is called win more customers. How do they win more customers? They win more customers based on providing superior competitive incentives to the customers. So if one credit card is giving 2% cash back, then the other credit card will say, I'm providing 2.5% cash back. Now, in what is happening here is that you are making competitor as your benchmark rather than the customer as your destination. And so it is almost, like this, that they say that when a person was running, or two friends, when they were running in the forest, and there was a lion there, and one of them started wearing the shoes. So the other person said, why are you wearing the shoes? Because you can still not beat, the lion. He will catch us. He said, no, I don't have to beat the lion. I have to beat you. Because then in that case, lion will not be coming after me because I will beat you in the game, competitive game. This is expensive game. And this is also short termish, as you rightly said. The third approach is called keep more. Keep more customers is exactly what we are talking about today. That how do we keep the customers more? Because it is the least expensive strategy of marketing in terms of staying afloat, in terms of growing further, and in terms of growing our businesses into other arenas also. Because if a customer has been satisfied in one group of activity of yours, then he or she will also give you a chance to try another group of activities coming from the same brand name or same house of brands or the same company. So there is a very clear distinction in marketing. So why do we fail to satisfy the customers? And then what makes customers happy? The last point. The customers are not taken care of by the marketers for fundamental reasons, organic reasons, as well as some, I would say, acquired stupidity that they get from other people. What is fundamental? Fundamental is that you are monopolist, or you are oligopolist, or you happen to be the only lion in the forest, or you are having one or two other lions, and the entire market is shared. The spoils are shared between you and the other, and you don't give a damn. Which is again, the partners in crime kind of mentality. So this is the first type of companies we have. Fortunately, we are having lesser of such companies. More and more companies are getting democratically attacked rather than monopolistically protected. So therefore, this is number one point which is out of the air. The second is that many companies are ignorant. Ignorant in the sense that they have come from a different background and they are not fundamentally bad. They are coming because their background is different, and they do not get updated, they do not get trained, they do not use the services like of Mr. Tomar, Dr. Tomar, or Peter, and as a result they remain what they remain, and they work with the vision that they have rather than increase their vision or acquire new vision. So such people also do not do very well with customers. They perhaps remain afloat, but perhaps below, I would say, par, rather than they come at par or above par. The third kind of companies, modern companies also, which are, I would call, customer conscious, companies. Customer conscious companies always take into account what will satisfy the customer, what will help the customer learn about them better and retain them better. So these three things are there. And some of these people really draw inspiration from our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi, who had once said that, customer is the most important person at your premises, business premises. Customer is the end of your pursuit, not the means of your pursuit. Now, when we say things like these, hear things like these, hear inspirational words from Mahatma Gandhi like these, then we feel that there must be a reason for such things to happen. And that is what came about later on when we heard the things called customer relationship management paradigm or relationship marketing paradigm, in which they said that your 80% of the resources must be towards keeping the customers and 20% of the resources must be towards developing or winning from your competitors, because you don't need to, since 80% of your customers anyway are coming to you. So there was an economic logic behind it. So that the final point then will come is that what makes customers happy. There are many theories available to us, many practices available to us, and the portfolio is only increasing, because new companies are bringing in new ways to delight the customers, to satisfy the customers, to amaze the customers. And even we professors keep hearing such things every day and feel wonderful about it, that how these companies are exploring things beyond the known. But there are some fundamentals which can be kept in mind always. There is a term in finance which is called earning per share, EPS. Now, that is taken as an indication of the company's stability, of the company's financial viability, and a point of attraction for investors to invest. This was the thing. This kind of thing, earning per share, I can now use it for our context also. And in our context, EPS is an acronym, the same way like it was an acronym there also. Here also it is an acronym. So what are these three things? Three letters. E, I would say, is empathy. Extreme form of empathy marketers must show to the customers, and more so post COVID, because the customers are really going through a lot in terms of their financial, operational, psychological burden that they are carrying with them. Nobody had imagined, nobody would see it hopefully again. And that is why empathy from the customer, for the customer, from the marketer is number one point, as point of satisfaction. Number two is a price. P is price, pricing. Pricing really has to be for the customer rather than for the marketer. So if you can reduce prices, if you can bring lower priced versions, if you can bring out some cost effective measures and pass on those things to the customers, the things which were more expensive now have become more affordable, probably that will make the customers very happy, because no customer wants to go for cheap product. They want to go for price effective product, or the one which is value for money. So this is the second point I would like to say, P. And the third letter, S, stands here as service. What kind of service you are providing before, during, after the transaction with the customer. Before, search can be very easy for the customers to look for you. Ordering could be easy for you. Then during this thing, the way it is being delivered, the day it is being, couriered, the way it is being delivered to your home, the way you are listening to the customer post delivery, all those things will come under this during. And post will be that even when the consumption cycle has ended or during the consumption cycle, check back that how are you doing? Is everything okay with you or not? Where did we make mistake and where we can do better? If this EPS of marketing is taken into account for my mind, Mahatma Gandhi will also be happy. We will also be worthy children of his, and we will also be marketers worth our name. Otherwise, we will be considered as someone, as many people believe, that marketers are those people whom you should not marry your daughter to. Somewhere some kind of problems are seen with their character, with their conduct, and that particular character and conduct can be taken care of much better through this EPS than any other thing. This is where I would like to end, and thank you, Mr. Goel, for the opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. He has elaborated about the marketing, about the happy customer. I will just like to highlight one or two points which he has mentioned. According to Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, the 90% of the dissatisfied customer always say they are going to one dissatisfied customer is going to create 11 or 12 more dissatisfied customers, because he is going to tell 11 or 12 people, while one satisfied customer will only tell 4 to 5 people. That was pre-social media time. But now, according to Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, one dissatisfied customer can create 90% awareness, or he put 90% of the people will be informed about the dissatisfaction of the product. And one who is going to say, or the 10% who wants to praise the product or the services, will be termed as the paid news, or somebody who has been motivated by the company. He has also mentioned that there are three main things which companies should do if they want to be in the market: either to find new customers, or to win new customers, or to keep more customers. And according to Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, keeping more customer is always valuable, less time consuming, and less expensive. But it requires lot of your creativeness. So, and he has mentioned about the EPS of the marketing, or the happiness. So according to Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, the company's main focus should be to the best services to the customer. If the customers are happy, they are satisfied, at least one dissatisfied customer will not talk negatively about you or your product and damage your brand, what you have made in many years. So Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal is very, very clear that if the company should change their mindset, and after the post-pandemic era, they must give the maximum benefit to the customer. And he has also quoted the Mahatma Gandhi for the happiness of the customer. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, for giving such a grand opening remarks. I'm sure that our viewers are watching the shows and they are getting very, very knowledgeable aspects of how to make, or what make customers happy. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. Now I am inviting my next guest, and he is Mr. Peter Heredia. Mr. Peter is the Managing Director of Max Sales Solutions, Dubai. He has had an extremely successful career, holding various commercial positions over a 30 years period within logistics. A lifetime sales professional working across the globe, he has been a UAE resident now for more than 20 years. More recently, he has been a key executive with Max Sales Solutions, a Dubai-based sales improvement organization. Mr. Peter has spent the last 25 years developing salespeople and prides himself on knowing how to ensure that every salesperson is successful. An enthusiastic educator, Mr. Peter regularly provides support to educational programs in the regions such as MBA coaching on leadership and sales planning. He is an in-demand speaker at corporate leadership sessions, providing fun, interactive sessions that get management team focused on how to drive their revenue performances. Mr. Peter is the author of the three famous books, namely The Secrets of Superior Sales Leadership, The Secrets of Superior Selling Skills, The Secrets of Superior Sales activity. Welcome, Mr. Peter, on our show. Mr. Peter, you have heard what Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal has mentioned in his opening remark. Now, you being a authority in the sales, you are like what I will say, you are the person who can change the marketing or the sales scenario. And you know the value of a customer, and you know the value of the happiness of the customer. So I'm sure your views are going to be taken very, very seriously by everybody, because you are an expert and authority in this field. So we would like to know from you, what makes customer happy? Mr. Peter Heredia, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goel, and thank you very much for inviting me to be on the show. I totally agree. I'll be able to build a lot on what Professor Mohan was also talking about. Obviously, with this subject, everything we're going to be referring to is going to be heavily linked. I would just like to start with building on something Professor Mohan said. I remember it was about 15 years ago now that in every organization, customer service used to be under the umbrella of operations. It was an operational task. 15 years ago, that changed. And in all of the multinationals, it moved under a commercial activity, which at the time, it seemed a bit strange to me, thinking it is an operational task. We're helping client, we're doing, but now it makes perfect sense, of course, doesn't it? Because a huge part of contribution to revenue and keeping revenue and building on revenue is keeping our customers happy. I'd like to, I think how we keep the answer, how do we keep our customers happy, is pretty straightforward. And that is ensuring our customer experience is the level of what the customers are expecting. So everything that we do, any product or service we provide, the customer experience is key. Now, although it's a very simple answer, to achieve that customer experience, as many of us know, is not as straightforward as we think. One reason being is that a lot of companies, they focus their attention on their product, the core of the product and the service that they offer. And they don't always look at the peripheral of what else is incorporated into the customer experience. A perfect example is a restaurant. So people look at a restaurant and they think the core is the food. Of course, the food needs to be good. But when you break down, when people ask for the customer experience of a restaurant, the food gets under 32% of importance. Most people would judge a poor experience on the waiter, the time it took, the location, the ease of parking, many other variances. So only 32% do people actually make a positive or negative contribution on the actual core topic of what is being provided for the client. So this is the same. Maybe it's not 32% in every industry, but customer experience is absolutely key from the customer's point of view, which is why I say that improving customer experience is not always straightforward, because we see things from our point of view. We need feedback from customers. I want to build on another part of what Professor Mohan was saying, and Mr. Goel elaborated more on that afterwards. And that is how many people now are posting a negative experience on social media, how many people communicate negatively. Now, if we think about that, it's having a very negative impact on the company, this negative feedback. However, everybody's talking to their friends and their family and people they know. The unfortunate thing here is nobody's actually giving that direct feedback to the supplier, to who's provided that service. And when they don't, so another statistic for you, and 1 in 14 Out of 15 people that are unhappy with an experience, only one out of that 15 actually complain and provide feedback. The other 14, they accept the bad experience and they don't communicate anything. And we all do it. I would sit with my wife and my family, we're having dinner or lunch, and we say the food isn't that nice. Wow, that took a long time for the food to come. Maybe we've had a bad experience. 30 seconds later, somebody comes to the table and says, is everything okay? And we go, yeah. So we've been talking negatively for the last minute. And then when somebody comes to the table and says, yeah, everything's fine, thanks. Okay, so as human beings, we don't like confrontation. What are we going to gain from starting to give negative feedback? So what happens then? Organizations now, people are unhappy with the service they're providing, but they're not getting the feedback, okay? Which is why there's a huge push globally for customer satisfaction surveys. Now, those customer satisfaction surveys, some companies don't take it seriously. Were you happy? Yes, no. What does that help them with? Yes or no? Okay. You don't want to make customer satisfaction surveys become 20 questions long because then nobody will do them, but you don't want it to make it too basic. Okay. So there's many ways of doing this, but we need to put together some kind of feedback to make sure we're taking it seriously and we really want to get the customer's point of view. Again, Professor Mohan said empathy is huge, and it is. But with empathy, we really need to understand. We can't pretend to understand. So we need to gain the insights of the customers. As Mr. Goel and Professor Mohan have said, I deal a lot with salespeople, okay? And let me drive home a point with salespeople. And it's, by the way, this is not the salesperson's fault, but let me just paint a picture of this customer experience and getting feedback. So a customer is dealing with a company, and that salesperson is the representative of that company. The customer has a great relationship with that salesperson. Over time, though, that salesperson is looking for more new business. And what happens then? He starts neglecting the client. What does neglecting the client mean? Well, he doesn't visit him as often. When the customer asks him for something, he doesn't always get back as quick as he used to. And he might turn up late when he does have a meeting with him, where he never used to before. How does the customer feel? Well, the customer now begins to feel like, I'm being neglected. I'm not being as valued as I was. Now, again, 14 out of 15 customers will not approach the salesperson and say, I'm being neglected. I feel, which is the most important thing, like I'm being neglected. He won't give that, but it festers, okay? So now, a month later, a competitor calls the customer. The customer in the past would never have entertained the competitor, but now he thinks, okay, come in, let's have a chat. So now he has the meeting with the competitor. Then the competitor, he's a nice guy. He's selling something that appears to be the same. It might be a little bit cheaper. Let's say it is cheaper. A couple of months pass and he's meeting with this new guy. The neglect, if it's not the neglect from the existing customer, if it's not increasing, it's still staying the same. There's neglect there. And eventually the customer phones his existing salesperson and says, look, I found a cheaper offer. I'm going to leave you. Remember, he would never have entertained that other salesperson. Now, the existing salesperson now thinks, what bad luck? How unlucky am I? Somebody's come and given a cheaper price. He goes to his manager and says to his manager, they've got a better offer. I've lost that business because they've got a better offer. Very, very few people could ever link back to poor customer service as why they lost a piece of business. Very, very few people, because we're not getting the feedback from the client. So I think the clear message for every organization is we have to set clear expectations of how we manage customers and stick to those expectations, because we're not going to get that regular feedback from the client if they begin to feel that neglect. Okay, I think this is very, very important. I'd like to build on it with a story. Okay, so I've been managing salespeople for many years. And about 13 years ago, I interviewed 2 salespeople on the same day. One was an English guy with an amazing personality. You could really warm to him, and he was very, very social and quite witty. It was obvious this was a good guy to have as an account manager for my sales team. On the same day, I met a Sri Lankan guy, and he didn't create a very good first impression. Just the way that he was a big guy and the way that he approached and things like that. And I put my strategy together thinking I'm going to interview him, but it's going to be a short interview. I didn't really warm to him. As I was interviewing him and asking him some questions, his answers were amazing. And my short interview quickly extended to my normal size interview of an hour. And I liked him a lot. I spoke with HR. I said, I felt a bit uncomfortable, but I've interviewed and I liked him. Can you chat with him? And they chatted with him and they came back to me and said, Peter, he's perfect for what you're looking for. I had 2 vacancies. I recruited both of them. As I went to the clients to introduce them to their new account managers, every time we sat down with the English guy, it was such a great experience. The customers were happy. There was always a bit of fun had. Everybody was talkative. It was very good. And they were saying to me, we're very happy with our new account manager. The same thing didn't happen when I went round with the Sri Lankan guy. Unfortunately, some of the clients were thinking twice about whether he was the right guy or not. And it wasn't quite, the breaking of the ice and things like that wasn't great. And even one customer called me up after the meeting and said, are you sure he's right for our account? And I said, can you trust me? I'm sure he is. And he said, okay. I'm going to fast forward 4 months. 4 months later, one of those 2 people I had to fire. The other person got salesperson of the month. And obviously I wouldn't be telling you this story if it wasn't the fact that the English guy got fired and the Sri Lankan guy got salesperson of the month. And let me explain why. The English guy had this amazing personality, this ease of building relationships very, very quickly. However, in business, that only takes you so far. He did not get back to clients as an account manager. He did not respond when they needed something. He turned up late for meetings, a lot of what I was referring to earlier. He was not an extension to the customer's business. And my phone was ringing all of the time with complaints. And then one time when he just never turned up for a meeting, we had to let him go. However, the Sri Lankan guy was the opposite. And it was something that you could see in the interview. He went the extra mile with the customers. He was extremely responsive and he would do more than what they were asking him to do. The customer that phoned me up after the meeting, when I introduced him, he phoned me up 2 months later to apologize and said, he is amazing. This guy is fantastic. And I'm very, very sorry I ever doubted. And I just want, when we look at the relationships, when we look at what customers want, yes, be nice and fun. It's okay. It's good. I'm not saying don't be like that. But at the end of the day, it's their business that is at stake, and they need that customer experience, and they need that from everybody they are talking to. So I just want to drive home the fact that, and this, by the way, was in logistics. That's moving something. Logistics is pretty much moving something from A to B. But there's so much more around, like the restaurant theory. There's so much more around that people need rather than just that. So it's back to customer experience. If I could build on the relationship, okay, if I could build on customer relationship. I've just got a bit of a scenario for you here, okay? If I just bring you into here. So what is the advantage of an improved relationship, okay? I'm going to give you a scenario here. And this scenario is not going to change during the whole session. Mr. Goel, can you see this okay? Or would you like me to make it the big screen? We can read it.
If you can make it a bigger, then this will be fine.
Of course. Okay, so we can go.
Yes,
here, okay?
yes, please.
Okay, so you are a project manager. Okay, so I would like you to put yourself into the shoes of a project manager in construction. And you use some software. There's some software you use for projects, and a new supplier for the software, okay, has just approached you with better prices and what appears to be the same software. Okay. So let me just quickly go back and explain this to you. So I want you to be in the mindset of being a project manager, and you use some software for the project. And there's a company that is supplying that software for you. You've been approached by a competitor of the company that you are using. They are giving you better prices than what you're currently paying. Okay? I'm going to give you 4 different scenarios, and I would like to know, and it's not interactive, so I'm going to tell you, I do this a lot. So I'm going to tell you what the majority of people say. Everybody's different, but I'm going to give you what the majority of people say. So the scenario is not going to change. A competitor is approaching with cheaper prices, but we're going to talk about the different levels of relationship. So the first one, I'll just keep on, is you don't know your current contact. So that the customer, the supplier that is providing you the software, you don't know who the salesperson, you don't know who your relationship manager, you don't know who they are. Now, when we give this scenario to most people, they would just say, I will leave and I will start using, I'm going to save some money. I will leave and I'll start using the competitor. Okay, that's what some people say, well, I might look for the contact. I might tell them they've got to lower their price or whatever. But normally it's quite an abrupt decision. I'm going to leave. The next one. You have met your current contact a few times and you have their number. Okay, so with this one, we get the contact, we make the call. We phone them up and we say, we need better pricing. That's the answer that I get most of the time. However, what's interesting with this answer, I ask, what happens in the phone call? And they say, well, I asked for better pricing. I say, what happens if they say, we're not going to give you the better pricing? They say, well, then I'll go. Okay, but at least now the difference in the first one is people will just stop. The second one, they'll give them a chance, but they need to come down in the pricing. Let's look at the third option. Okay, the third option, you have a great relationship with your existing contacts and they're very reliable. They add value to your business through continually maximizing the software software usage. Okay, so now it's the same sales, the same type of role. These salespeople are doing the same type of role, but now they're an extension to the business. They're talking to them, they're understanding what they're doing, and they're building value to the business. When we get to this stage, I get a bit of a mixture. Some people will say, well, I'm still going to contact them and ask for a better price. Some would say I wouldn't contact them. I would just say no to the new person. But the ones that say I would contact them, I say, okay, if you contact them and ask for a better price and they say no, what would you do? And they all say, well, no, I'd stay. I'd not jeopardize. The software is important for the project. Even if it's a little bit of savings, I wouldn't jeopardize that. Okay, so now we've moved from leaving straight away to not leaving. The fourth level of relationship I put in there as the ultimate. Okay, however, I don't normally ask people what their decision would be, and that is that your current, your existing contact is your wife or your husband. Okay, so basically, just for a bit of fun, I don't ask people because some people, depending on their current relationship, would say, I'll definitely stay or I'll definitely leave. but just stressing the point of the ultimate relationship would be like a family member or something like that. But the key to this is the situation doesn't change. However, the level of relationship has a massive impact on the decision making. And that is all down to customer experience. And that's it really for me. I hope that's okay, Mr. Goel.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Peter, for giving so much elaborating marketing and the happiness of the customer satisfaction. And I will just highlight one or 2 points. He says that the 15 years back, the marketing was under the operations of a company. It was not giving the due importance which is giving now. And he has given one example, many examples, but one of the example which I would like to highlight about the restaurant. He says the core thing of a restaurant is food. So people always feel that the food, if the food is good, everyone will be happy. But when a survey was done, it was found that the food got only 32% for the satisfaction of a customer. The rest were for their parking, for the location, the waiter services, etc. So it shows that you are not only giving a core service or product to a customer, but you have to give them the experience, customer experience. And that is very, very important. According to Mr. Peter, he says nowadays people want that what good experience they are going to get. And he has mentioned about that if a person is not touch with the customer regularly or not satisfying the customer, even initially he was very happy and the customer was very happy, the chances are the customer can go to the competitor. And he has elaborated through the what example he has given, and as well as he has shown even through the PPT presentation how the customers can go if you are not taking them seriously. So the thing is very clear. Even after sales service, a customer feedback is very important, as well as giving them the service. He has also given an example of 2 sales accounts persons who are from British person and one is a Sri Lankan. One was very good to talk, etc., presentable. Other was not at all presentable, not that presentable as the British one. But ultimately, the British lost because he was not giving the after-sale service which every customer require, which this fellow, the Sri Lankan, was going more and giving more services what was expected by the customer. So that is the customer expectation. So according to Mr. Peter, the customers have to be given a best experience. And if we are giving good experience to the customer will be loyal to your organization. Thank you very much, Mr. Peter, for giving such a, I must say, so much knowledgeable your thoughts which you have expressed. I'm sure all those who are watching, and especially the youth who are watching our show, are going to be very much enriched and enlightened by your talk. Thank you very much, Mr. Peter, once again. Now I would like to invite my next panelist, and he is Dr. One moment, please. This glitch of, yes. He is Dr. Vivek Singh Tomar. Dr. Vivek Singh Tomar is the trainer, researcher, and consultant marketing and strategy. He is associated with Institute of Management Technology Center for Distance Learning, Ghaziabad. Dr. Tomar is PhD and UGC NET qualified in management. He is MBA in marketing, graduate in computer science with over 2 decades of work experience. Prior to joining IMT CDL Ghaziabad, he worked with MET Business School Noida, ITM University Gwalior, ICFAI National College, and worked as independent IT and business consultant with many organizations. He is known for his expert level domain knowledge, learner-centric approach with exceptional classroom management skills, in offline as well as online engagement with learners. He has virtuous international experience of teaching MBA students in India, Dubai, and Singapore, conducted lectures for MBA students of Aspire 2 International College, New Zealand, Unimore, Italy, and Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne, USA. He trained volunteers during 19th Commonwealth Games held in Delhi. He taught marketing and training programs for Tata Motors managers and delivered management courses to officers and PBORs under DGR, Ministry of Defense, Government of India. He has authored over 35 academic research papers, and many of them are published in national and international journals of repute listed in SCOPUS, WOS, ABDC, EBSCO, etc. I'm sure these words the marketing guys understand, not a layperson like me. He has also contributed business case studies to the Case Center University of Cranfield, UK. He regularly participates in international and national level conferences focused in the domain of marketing and business strategy as session chair, co-chair, jury member, and paper presenter. Welcome, Dr. Vivek Singh Tomar on our show. Dr. Tomar, you have heard what Professor Dr. Agrawal as well as Mr. Peter has mentioned, and they have given a new experience. Even I am sitting here, but I feel that yes, if any company is giving such type of experience, I will be definitely going with that company. We would like to know from you the today's topic, which is very, very relevant, and it's a everybody, all the companies wants to know what makes customer happy. Dr. Vivek Singh Tomar, please.
Thank you, Mr. Lal, for such generous introduction and providing me this wonderful opportunity to present my views. I am totally spellbound with the kind of gathering that you have brought here together. You yourself being a philanthropist, my academic colleague, Dr. Mohan Agrawal, he is a very senior professor, and especially Mr. Peter from the industry. He's the MD of Maxell's Dubai, UAE. So we have people from corporate, we have philanthropists, and we have a company of academicians. And let me share with you, Mr. Lal, that it's really a little bit difficult when you are the last speaker, because before you, so many speakers, they have already provided their views and they leave very less for you to speak. But still, I will try my best to add some new insight to whatever has been delivered by my predecessors. So, first of all, I would like to comment on the topic, what makes customer happy. When I was telling some of my friends that I would be delivering my talks on what makes customer happy, they said that you are a marketing professor. It's a very generic and simple topic. And what new value that you would be adding, because majority of the audience, they will already be marketing professionals who will be hearing your session. Well, the beauty lies in the simplicity. And I must congratulate the organizers for choosing such a wonderful and relevant topic, that is what makes customer happy. So despite of its simplicity, this topic will always remain contemporary. Why? Because the customer and consumer behavior keep on changing over a period of time. If you would have called somebody 10 years ago and if you would have asked him that what makes customer happy, uh, and if you ask the same question to somebody today, there would be a big gap in terms of the consumer behavior, which has changed over a period of time. Customer taste preferences, they keep on changing with changes in the society. Now we are living in a very different world today. It is year 2021. 2021 is the age of millennials. Age of millennials means those kids who were born in year 2000, now they are 21 years old, and they are the young adults, and they are the one who are the driving force behind the market. They are the major customers. They are the one who are spending huge amount of money in variety of products and services. So people of our generations, like we all speakers here, probably belonging to generation X, definitely two more generations have passed when this new group of customers, they have taken over the market, these millennials. So these customers are different. So definitely it is contemporary. It is a very relevant and modern talks to discuss on what makes this group of customers happy.
Excuse me, Dr. Tomar, your head is it just head is
Okay.
going up.
Okay, okay.
If you can just put
Right,
the
right. Am I okay now?
yeah, now
Okay.
if you are sitting,
All
yes.
right, all right.
Thank you.
So continuing with my talks, like we have to discuss about this millennium generation of customers because they are the driving force in the current marketplace. Well, their behavior is very different from the behavior of their past generations. Their expectations are very different from the expectations of past generations. In one word, we can call them as those customers who believe in instant gratification because the kind of life that they have gone through, the kind of life events that they have witnessed, they have been very different from their past generation of customers. And those life events have provided a very significant impact on the way they think and the way they consume the products and services in the economy. So definitely the choice of topic is very good. Now, if I go about what is customer, I think that Mr. Lal has already explained very well in his opening remark. Customers may be individuals, they may be groups, they may be households, or they may be organization. Because my colleague from corporate, Mr. Peter, he's from the business background. So when he was talking of customer experience, his focus was more on the business buyers or the organizational customers. So customers can be individuals, those who buy the products and services, the groups, organizations, or they may be households. Okay. And why do they want to purchase products? Why do they consume products? Because they have some unsatisfied needs that they want to satisfy. The needs could be physiological, psychological, right? Physiological need means like we all need to satisfy our hunger, our thirst, so we buy food and drinks. And psychological needs, say somebody aspire to crack some competitive examination, say somebody wants to become a doctor or engineer, so they join coaching classes. So marketing is everywhere, it is all pervasive. So what we use a term to define customer. It is an acronym which is called MAN. MAN means money, authority, and need. So a customer is the one who is a man. That means the person who has a need and he has the money to spend to satisfy that need. And most important, he has authority to spend that money. So MAN is the acronym which is used for defining customers. As I have told that customers include two broad categories. One is household customers who buy the product or services for their personal consumption, and second is business customers who buy products and services for commercial use. So today, if we look at customers, we generally talk of customers as the one who live in a marketplace, right? Customers are generally found in the marketplace. Marketplace is place where the buyers and sellers they meet and transactions happen between these two parties, right? So in the marketplace, now today we have both kind of marketplace, the virtual marketplace as well as physical marketplace. Because looking at the time which is going on right now, the COVID time, we all have realized the importance of the virtual world today. Because earlier, suppose if this kind of media conference would have happened, probably Mr. Lal would have invited us to a studio to deliver talks together. But because of this COVID situations, we are using products like we are using Zoom meeting, we are using Microsoft Teams, and we are using many other products. So they are the one who has catered. These are those products which has catered to the need of the customers looking at this pandemic situation which has arisen. And definitely, it is a great. These are great products that we are using. Okay. So having discussed about who is customer, the next thing and the most important thing that we have to discuss for today's session is what makes customer happy. Now, we academicians, instead, happiness, customer happiness is probably a word which is used mostly by the practitioners. For us, marketers or professors who teach marketing, we talk more of the customer satisfaction and customer delight. These are the two words which are mostly used in the world of academics. And we all know that it is very important for every kind of business to have happy, satisfied, or delighted customers, whatever term you use for happiness. Right? So when you have a happy customer, it directly translates into more purchase. That is, they will purchase more volume of your products, high frequency of purchase, that they will make more repeat purchase of your product. That will make them a loyal customer with repeat purchase. Happy customers, they will be writing positive recommendations for your products on online shopping sites. They will be giving you high star ratings. And with their reviews and their ratings, definitely more customers, they will also read those reviews and rating, and inspired by those reviews and rating, definitely it will also not only educate and inform them, but it will also instill the confidence in those new wannabe customers, and that confidence will help you in making a confident purchase. Another benefit of having a happy customer is like you are able to generate a very positive word of mouth. Word of mouth. Now, if we compare in between the paid form of communication to the customer and unpaid form of communication to the customer, word of mouth is a non-paid, unpaid form of communication, and it is proven to be more effective than the paid advertisement. Why? Because that communication which comes from other customer, that is not sponsored or paid by the marketers. So generally whatever communication or message that we as a customer we get from our peers, our colleagues, our friends, our relative, it has more impact on our purchase. So the recommendations of our friends through positive word of mouth, it definitely helps a lot. And a happy customer is the one who has the high propensity or high probability of recommending the product. And the last thing is the image building. Companies, they spend huge amount of money in their corporate image building. But if you have a satisfied, happy and delighted customer, uh, the image building happens automatically, and whatever image building happens through the positive word of the customer, it has more impact on retaining your existing customer as well as getting the new customers. Now, if we again go deeper into what makes customer happy, I think the classical definition of marketing has answered of this question in itself, right? I remember like the definition of marketing which I studied when I was an MBA student, and I remembered it by heart. So that definition said that marketing is a social and managerial process by which an individual or an organization gets what they need and want by creating, exchanging, and offering goods of value with others. Now, this single statement definition has everything about what makes the customer happy. So, the first line says that it is a social and managerial process. So, you cannot simply see marketing or reaching to the customer simply as a managerial process where you simply try to achieve efficiency and effectiveness through your business process. Rather, you see your customer as an individual, as a group within a part of society, and understanding the social context of the customer, his culture, his background, you try to serve the customer. Second aspect of this definition, it says that it involves creation of value. Creation of value, that means you create something which is worthy for the customer, and customer is willing to sacrifice something to in order to get what he want to get in order to satisfy his needs and wants. Now, what he sacrificed? Generally, we say that customers they sacrifice money, they pay the price for the product. But it is not only the price that the customer pay for the product. Along with the money that the customer pay for the product, he also spend considerable time in researching about the product so that he become educated, he take a wise and educated decision. So not only money that he pays, he also spends time, and time is also equivalent to money. The third thing is the efforts that the customer put in order to get the product. One way of the convenience of getting product is you shop online. That will give you place convenience, that will give you time convenience. You are sitting at the comfort of your home. At any time, you can place the order and the product will get delivered at your home, right? The other aspect of shopping from the side of customer is that he has to travel all the way to reach to the market, struggle to find the parking space, and then reaching to the shop, browsing through the categories, and then selecting, trying multiple products, and then finally selecting a particular product and brand. So that involves a lot of efforts that the customer put from his side. So it's not only money, he also spends time as well as he put a lot of labor and considerable efforts. So all that sacrifice that he make in order to get the product and service which provide him best satisfaction. Now, when he's putting so much of efforts, when he's doing so much of sacrifice, he wants some product which is worthy of all the efforts that he put in. So that means he has a perceived value, he has a perceived expectation about the product, and whatever sacrifice that he made, that must be worthy of in terms of the product and service and the benefit and satisfaction that that product will deliver to the customer. So there is a concept of value, because if you again go into another definition of marketing, it says that marketing is about understanding the value, creating the value, delivering the value, and communicating the value to the customer. So it's again customer centric. That is, you understand the customer, what he needs, what exactly he wants. You create the value, you create exactly what the customer want, for which he is willing to sacrifice his time, efforts, and money, and you deliver that value for which the customer pays, and in last you communicate the value to the customer. That is, you inform your customer about the product, the service, or your market offering, so that he should be able to take the right decision. Another thing is setting the right expectation and then meeting those expectations. The customer expectation is directly built on the basis of what is being communicated by the marketer about the value and benefit of the product to the customer through the mass media, through the mass communication. So every time whenever I teach to my students marketing management, I always tell them that never make false commitment to your customer, never overcommit to your customer. Always make the commitment and see that whatever you have committed, you must try to deliver more than what you have committed, because you set the right expectation by communicating less and setting the right expectation, and then you exceed the expectation of the customer by delivering him more than what you actually promised. So setting the right expectation is purely in the hand of marketers. They should know that they should set the right expectation, and once they have set the expectation, then they must do everything to meet that expectation. Another thing is that there is a caveat. There are many people who are critic of marketing and sales. Like Dr. Mohan Agrawal, he rightly said that many of the parents, they do not want their daughter to be married to marketing or sales people, because they consider that they are dishonest people. They make false commitment. They make over commitment. They fail in meeting the commitment. They try to persuade the people for their own personal individual gains. Well, this negative image of marketing and sales professionals is partly because of the wrong behavior of some of the professionals in this industry. So, honesty, transparency, and ethics, these are the three fundamental pillars which every salesperson must follow. I would like to share one small experience with the audience here. Uh, in the early days of my career, after doing my MBA, I joined one FMCG company. I was working for a packaged drinking water company. So we used to move in the market with the ready stock, and in the evening we used to come back with cash, because the all the transactions used to happen in cash. So that was my first day in that packaged drinking water company. I sold the packaged drinking water in 1 liter, 5 liters, 2 liters, 20 liters packages and boxes to different retailers. And on the evening when I was filling up my daily sales report, one of the sales officer who was not MBA, but he got the similar designation that I got by the virtue of having 15 years of experience in the field. He asked me that how much of sales I have made in that day, and I told him the figure, and he said, "That's it. That's very low." Then I asked him, "Okay, please, you tell me what is the better way to increase the sales." And he told me that marketing is about fooling people, and I really felt offended by this statement, because marketing, it might be something that he might have accidentally entered into, but it was a profession of my choice. So I worship that profession, the marketing and sales profession. And it is totally a myth that honest people, they cannot survive and exist in marketing and sales profession. In fact, on the contrary, honesty, integrity, and transparency are the three foundation pillars in this sales business, because the customers, they do not see the company, they see the salespeople. And if the salesperson is dishonest, the customer will develop this perception that the company is dishonest, the company cheats with the customer. So being the front end or being the face of the organization, you have to build the transparency, trust, so that you can win the faith of the customer and develop a long-term relationship, and you keep on getting the repeat purchase from the customer. You don't have to sell to the retailer only for once, you have to keep on selling him again and again. So like the lesson was very openly taken by that person, because there were some seniors who came forward and supported, and he said, like, this is the difference between a sales officer who is MBA from a reputed business school and the one who has not got any formal education in marketing and sales. This is the difference, because those who are educated in good business school, they are the one who understand the importance of honesty and integrity, because no business school in this world teach dishonesty, false commitment, wrong commitment to their students in the area of sales and marketing. And that's why those who are honest, they are able to sustain the business for long term as compared to those who do not value the honesty and integrity in the field of sales and marketing. So to make a customer happy and satisfied, you have to be honest and transparent with your customer. Just two more points before I conclude. Like another thing which is very important to have a satisfied customer.
You have to be brief because the time
yes,
is.
sir. I'll just sum up with last 2 points. Like, we all study about the 4 basic elements of marketing mix. That is right product, delivered or made available at the right place, at the right time, at the right price. So what is right product? What is right place? What is right time? What is right price? It's purely based on understanding of your customer, that what exactly your customer want to satisfy his need or to solve his problem. Provide him at the product at the place of his convenience. For example, the customer would not like to travel a long distance to buy a pack of bread or milk, but he may travel a long distance to buy a branded luxury car, right? So accordingly, you develop the distribution network, and most important, the right price that the customer is willing to pay, and that must also match with what other competitors are offering. Another thing is, you understand your customers. For that, you need to be continuously engaged in research and analysis, through which you understand the consumer behavior. A lot of researchers and academicians, they are doing this in their field and try to develop more insight about the customer behavior, because we know today's business is more digital and data driven. So all marketing decisions must also be the data driven, rather than the decisions which are based on gut feeling and hunch feeling. And based on understanding of those customers, you cater to their needs, and you cater to their needs with distinctive competencies. The way you deliver must be better than what your competitors are able to do. And that is the only thing which will keep you afloat in the market. And last thing is that you keep on measuring the satisfaction of your customers, their happiness, through ongoing feedback system. So you must have some inbuilt feedback system within your organization, through which you should be able to measure the satisfaction. And if there is any issue which is raised by the customer, then it must be resolved in time, and a proper feedback must be taken from the customers regarding the satisfactory resolution of that issue, or that problem that customer has raised to you. So you must empathize with your customer, and most important is that you should meet the commitment that you make to your customer, in terms of not only the product delivery and services, but also in terms of meeting the post purchase service commitment to your customers. I think that's all, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vivek Singh Tomar, about the marketing. Because of the paucity of time, I would not be able to summarize it. Because so now I'm going directly for the question, and my first question goes to Mr. Peter. Mr. Peter, do you think new marketing strategy is required to be changed with new innovations? Like I will give an example: the Amazon, which is an online services. They have changed their strategy. They came in the brick mortar model also when they acquired the Whole Foods, and there they, in spite of only selling the groceries, organic groceries, etc., they have started giving the food, ready cooked food on the counter on a very, very, very economic way to cater the millennial class, or those who are IT, or all those who are working, who doesn't have time just to go and pick up the things, weigh and pay the money and immediately eat. And they are very, very successful in all over the world. Do you think you require to change the marketing strategy almost not day by day, but very frequently, to make the customer happy? Mr. Peter, please.
I'd just like to say, I think in a lot of sales and marketing and anything that's customer focused, sometimes people try and create too much rocket science or amazing strategies. I think we need to keep these strategies simple. If that's what the customer is looking for, if that's what their customer is looking for, let's do it. Let's understand. I think we've heard it a few times today. Let's understand our client and align our strategies with what is making our customer happy, whatever that is. But I think if companies internally think too much and they don't think about the client, they think about their worth in the organization and how we can have amazing strategies, sometimes the customer is overlooked. So whatever the strategy is, doesn't matter what it's used, if it's used some fantastic new technology or whatever, it's great as long as we are aligning ourselves with the customer and the experience that they receive.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Peter. Now my question goes to Dr. Tomar. Dr. Tomar, you and other panelists mentioned about the social media, and earlier panelist, Mr. Peter, as well as the Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal mentioned how the customer who is dissatisfied is putting negative comments on the social media. But don't you think this social media, these types of negative comments have put a burden, rather I will say have made galvanized the companies to come out with more effectiveness, more customer satisfaction, so that no such type of negative comments can come. So rather, social media has played a very, very important role for the customer happiness in one way, because no company or no brand wants to have a negative report. What you say about this, Dr. Tomar?
So first of all, social media is something which has really empowered the customers. Because earlier, whenever customer wanted to be heard, it was very difficult for them to reach to the right people. But with this social media, many times they are able to reach to the right decision makers in case they have some grievance, some problem. Another thing is that companies, they have also realized that they cannot simply ignore the satisfaction of their customers, because many places in different parts of the world, they are sellers market. Like I give you example of our own country, India, right? We have a very quite diversity in terms of population density. In Arunachal Pradesh, say for example, there are 17 people living per square kilometer. And when we compare it with the population density of Delhi, there are more than 13,000 people living per square kilometer. So in such saturated market where population density is very high, the customers are taken for granted by the companies. Companies, sometimes small businesses, they feel that because of this big gap in between demand and supply, even if we provide inferior product or services, customers have no option, they will come back to us. So customer have got a very good empowerment through these social media sites. There are some sites which are doing great, especially they are able to reach the customer grievances to the higher levels, like mouthshut.com or customercomplaint.com or consumerreview.com. These sites has also brought this thing very clear to the companies that they have to hear to their customers. If they don't hear, then eventually their ratings, their review will get affected. And with this negative word of mouth, they will not be able to survive for long run. So I think it is a win-win situation for both for
Yeah.
customers as well as for companies to get the right feedback.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Tomar. Now my last question goes to Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, earlier people or the companies think that only the lesser the price they can win, or the higher the price they can win. But now it's not only the price, quality as well as after sales service. Do you agree that to keep a customer happy, you have to provide all these three things with a customer experience? Then only you will be able to sustain. And the example is very clear about Amazon today in the pandemic time. The way Amazon is giving the cost-effective product, the quality, and the after-sale service, that even if you are not liking thing, which earlier, like we used to purchase a Chinese product, the shopkeeper used to say it's a Chinese, no guarantee, you just take out from my shop, we will not take it back. But now Amazon is giving the buyback scheme, immediately you return and the money will be credited. Do you think these all things are required today to keep a customer happy? Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, 1 minute, please.
I think I fully agree with you that today the customer is looking for the total buying experience, not just the price. And you're absolutely right. In fact, you have spoken my words also when you say that experience could be there at the middle price also, at the highest price also, and even at the lowest price also, what we call, bottom of the pyramid. The If you remember, and just that's the example I would give now, that in villages, the construction workers used to buy very small things, because what is that? That is what they have from the local grocery store, and he will make pudiya, small pudiya, and give it to them, and they will take it again next day. Now that is what I call buying experience. That he's customizing the quantity, packaging the quantity, because they know that the customers cannot afford 100 gram or 50 gram. They will take 1 rupee or 50 paise. So absolutely right, I agree with you that today price is one of the factors, not the factor.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. So today, viewers, you have seen how the companies are struggling and how the companies are changing their strategies to keep their customers happy. And no doubt about it, our all the panelists have said the companies have to do this thing. Earlier, they were not serious about the customer satisfaction because they were many of the companies were dealing in the monopoly items. But now, with the competition, with the open economy, and with the emerge of social media, the people are aware, as one of the panelists says, the empowerment of the customers. So customers are empowered. So as a viewer, as a customer, whenever you are buying anything, please go to on the social media, see the reviews, check yourself, and then take the decision. But always see to it that it is not only the money factor, as Professor Agrawal said, you have to see all other aspects also and then take a decision. Thank you very much. I'm sure today's media conference is of so much high level that we have got such type of new things about the customer happiness. Thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, Newsgaon se Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, as well as it was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to bring to you every day new topic. But for last more than 1.5 months, we have started a evening program in which we call one achiever of the society, of the country, and or from anywhere, who has achieved and who is like a you can say pillar of the society, who can give the lights to the others, especially the youngsters. And today in our program called Kal Aaj aur Kal Lal Goel ke Sang at 4:30 p.m., our chief guest is Mr. Ajit Khare, Managing Director, Canara Lightning Industries Private Limited, Mangalore, and he will be talking about his life journey from the childhood till how he has reached on the top. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. Thank you, Mr. Peter, and thank you very much, Dr. Vivek Singh Tomar, for giving your very, very enlightening views. And thank you all the viewers for viewing our show. Thank you very much.